What's up everybody, this is Master Ian Gamer. The Overwatch 2 Halloween Terror event has arrived, and needless to say, it's been quite the mixed bag in terms of the actual content we got with it. Some aspects, like the PvE, are truly phenomenal, and then of course we have the skins and cosmetics and rewards for playing the event, which are pretty pathetic. So let's jump right on in, talking about what I think is good with this event and what I think has some issues. And first up, let's focus on the main event of the event, being the brand new PvE game mode, Wrath of the Bride. Now, this is a sequel to the original Junkenstein's Revenge PvE mission from Overwatch 1, and while you can still actually play the original Junkenstein's Revenge during this event, which is awesome, I'm glad they brought it back, this new Wrath of the Bride sequel introduces a ton of really interesting and really cool twists on the old PvE formula we're fairly used to from Overwatch 1. Specifically, it has us doing a bit more of an adventure progression type thing through the Eichenwald map with the Halloween aesthetic, where rather than just defending the gates, we actually venture through the town portion and then go into the castle and then ultimately end up fighting the big boss, which is Sombra as the bride. I really love the way this is all structured and how it's like an adventure and like a group of travelers having to invade the castle to take out the big bad. It's a really nice twist and is in a lot of ways more reminiscent of the Archives PvE missions as opposed to the old Junkenstein's Revenge, but certainly with a lot more detail and especially more story focus invested in it. It might not connect to the greater Overwatch storyline since it's set in the sort of pocket spin-off universe, I don't know what you'd call it, that's used for the Junkenstein's Revenge and all the Halloween stuff, but I really like the way Blizzard focused on the actual story of the adventurers going through, and you get all the cool little banter between the characters, which again is very reminiscent to Archives more specifically. One thing which I personally quite like them adding with this PvE mission is the jump scares, which happen a couple times throughout the mission. Certainly, it's quite befitting of a Halloween event to have a much more spooky aesthetic going for it, and I think Blizzard did a really good job with it when it comes to this PvE mission. I also like the addition of little secrets and almost like Easter eggs that you can find as you sort of venture around. Things where you have these sort of challenges that require you to find secret areas or discover secret interactions. All that just really helps flesh out the game mode and make it more fun and add a bit of replayability, while also rewarding players for actually being able to discover these things. Overall, this new Wrath of the Bride experience, I think, may be the single best PvE experience we've actually had when it comes to Overwatch. Maybe some of the Archives missions are better, and certainly everyone's going to have their own ideas about what they prefer, but I really love just the amount of variety Blizzard has presented by introducing such a new and distinct experience with this new mission. And I certainly hope it's an indicator of what's to come in Overwatch 2's actual PvE side, which is supposed to be releasing sometime next year. However, I do also need to address some criticisms I have with this PvE experience, since it's not all perfect as far as I'm concerned. For one thing, I think the campaign overall suffers a bit from not having as strong of a replayability factor as many of the PvE missions we saw in Overwatch 1. Specifically, the old Junkenstein's Revenge was just so simplistic. You could just stand there shooting Zomniks over and over again. It was a very replayable game mode because it was almost just like a casual, relaxing shooting gallery in a sense. Whereas this new Wrath of the Bride mode is much more focused on its own little story going on, having these cool little set pieces and encounters, which are really cool, and overall I absolutely love that Blizzard has decided to go with something like this. But even just during the first day of the event, when I was playing it, I don't know, probably like a dozen or more times in a row, as I was trying to get all the achievements and finish the challenges, I was admittedly pretty sick of it by the end. I wouldn't say that's overall a bad thing, because obviously Blizzard focused more on having a story experience for this specific campaign as opposed to a highly replayable just grind fest like Junkenstein's Revenge was, but I do think it's worth noting that the replayability of this new mode isn't terribly great, and maybe is something to just sort of keep in mind going forward into the greater PvE modes of Overwatch 2. Another issue I had with this PvE campaign though is actually the level design of certain areas. It is of course using the pre-existing Eichenwald map, which is typically a hybrid map, and then it tweaks some of the areas and adds new walls and doorways and stuff to change up the actual path the player is capable of traversing, which works pretty well in terms of the storytelling aspect and the idea of these adventurers traveling into the castle to defeat the big bad, but many of these areas I think are just sort of annoyingly claustrophobic, and it honestly ends up hindering the gameplay experience in more than a few situations. The one particular point in this campaign which really sort of feels annoying to try to have to get through is the first time you encounter the Winston gargoyles, and you have to fight two of them in this really narrow sort of area where there is some high ground that some of the characters can get up to sort of shoot down at the enemies, but overall it just feels like a mess, just having this big brawl happen in this tight dark space where you can barely see what's happening. It feels like you just don't have adequate space to sort of kite around the gargoyle Winstons, and you just have to sort of face them head on, and then you normally end up dying. And then of course the normal Zomniks now deal damage when they explode if they get close to you, so you have to be careful to keep your distance from them. And there's also the shock tires coming in. It unfortunately just ends up getting rather frustrating at times to have to play in these tight corridors. There's some other issues like this as well, such as the Echo Marionette dream sequence you go through. It's a little tight-quartered, I think, and doesn't really give you that comfortable space to really move around and fight the enemies. And then there are also certain pathways through the castle itself where I think this is also an issue. But again, I'm sure this is mainly an issue purely because they're reusing a PvP map at its core to enable this game mode to exist by just using that map. So if Blizzard maybe just had some more resources to make a fully original map for this, I think it would work much better, and I assume in the proper PvE Overwatch 2 experience we'll be getting later down the line, they'll be focusing more on making better map designs. This one is just a temporary game mode for a temporary event, so I can forgive them on just reusing map assets to the extent that they did. So overall, I have to say I had a ton of fun playing through this Junkenstein's Revenge Wrath of the Bride experience, but in terms of just grinding the game and replayability, it's probably one I'm not going to play a whole ton of going forward. I'll be sure to play it a couple more times before the event ends, but otherwise, it's probably back to quick play for me. Now, moving on from the PvE, let's talk about some of the other more troubling aspects of this Overwatch Halloween event. Simply put, beyond the PvE itself and all the fantastic new features that introduced, this event is incredibly lame. It added 2 new skins, 3 if you count the free Reaper skin, but 2 skins which you can only unlock by paying for them with actual money, since the only way to get them is with the Overwatch coins, and there's no way to grind those coins via the event itself. And these 2 skins are of course the Kiriko Witch skin and the Junker Queen Executioner skin. Both skins in and of themselves I think actually look pretty cool. I mean, it's a nice witch design for Kiriko. The Junker Queen Executioner one I actually really like because it feels really fitting for the character to have a skin like that. But again, the prices for these skins are so outlandish that unfortunately I just can't really get excited for them because I'm not going to spend money on these. I really wish Blizzard had at the very least introduced some like epic skins as well, just like 2 or 3 new epic skins, either for older heroes or these new heroes, someone, and then had those skins unlockable by either playing through the PvE mission, maybe after you complete all the challenges you unlock those skins as a sort of final reward, or maybe as some other sort of way where you could get these other skins with like legacy credits or something, just anything to add a bit more value to the event itself and give people something to actually get excited for beyond the PvE, since I think the vast majority of people aren't going to be spending $20 or $40 on these new skins for Kiriko and the Junker Queen. And the only other rewards which do exist for completing the challenges in PvE are just sprays, voice lines, little title cards and things, tiny things that are kind of nice to have, but like nobody's getting really excited excited for these. It feels good to unlock them when you actually do, but are these things that anyone's gonna really care about once the event ends? No, almost certainly not. So to that extent, I think Blizzard really dropped the ball in terms of the amount of content we actually got in it. Again, the PvE is great. I love that they did this and tried something new with it. I do have a few issues with some aspects, mainly the level design, but overall an awesome experience and something that really shines amidst all the other content in this event, because cosmetics-wise, the event is unfortunately pretty lackluster. Curiously enough, I think this really perpetuates the issue Overwatch 2 at large seems to have been having since its launch, which is that at its core, Overwatch 2 is a fun game with some really great core gameplay, but then it's just dragged down by all these terrible things around it. The selection of cosmetics, the price of skins, all these clunky mechanics they stripped from the game, and all these quality of life features they removed, issues with progression and just not giving people a real reason to even play the game. All of those just really suck to have to deal with, and it's interesting to see the Halloween event sort of perpetuate that trend by having this really fun core game mode with the PvE that unfortunately just isn't replayable enough or doesn't offer enough interesting and incentivizing rewards to really make it feel complete or be the really fun experience I think we all kind of wanted it to be. Nonetheless though, overall, this event has been an interesting one to observe. Hopefully this isn't necessarily setting a trend for all future Overwatch 2 events going forward. I would certainly love it if they added more PvE missions going forward, like maybe we get a Christmas-themed PvE mission come December, who knows? But when it comes to the skins and cosmetics and rewards for actually playing the event itself, if Blizzard doesn't up their game in the events to come, I think the reputation of Overwatch events in Overwatch 2 is gonna just tank even further. So Blizzard, take notes. People aren't super thrilled with this event as is, so maybe try to up the game a little bit, but we'll have to wait and see. That does it for my quick little summary video of my thoughts on the Overwatch 2 Halloween Terror event. Thank you all so much for watching. Definitely let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments down below. Did you enjoy getting to play the new PvE game mode? Or are you super disappointed by the selection of skins and cosmetics available from it? Either way, be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe, follow me on Twitter, hit up that bell icon, and come join my Discord server to hang out and never miss any of my future Overwatch content. Special thanks to my YouTube channel members who help make these videos possible, and if you'd like to join them to earn some cool rewards, then just hit that join button down below. Otherwise, this is Master Ian Gamer signing off, and until next time, have a great day.